What exactly is an AI agent and why are they relevant right now in 2025?
OpenAI provides you with the ChatGPT interface that's grounded in publicly available information. Now, agents are entities that are autonomous. You now actually have an engine that's grounded on your company's data.
So how is exactly AgentForce helping with code? So it writes code for you, like reading your code base and everything?
We have our own models that is trained on our own code base, and it is able to kind of help you.
How has product management changed over the years, like in the last 5-6 years?
I don't think product management has changed the core of it. There are changes that come along. So you can either be a part of it or you can choose to shy away from it.
We have done like 3 years of software engineering, but it's learning core AI, core ML. Is that necessary for someone to become a product manager right now?
It's of course easier for a software engineer to pick up. They don't have to rely on a lot of people to kind of give the answer to the customers.
How do these non-technical people survive? People who want to switch from, let's say, customer success, sales.
I don't think I want to kind of dishearten anyone by saying, hey.
In today's episode, we are joined by Mr. Rakesh Mondal, Senior Product Manager at Salesforce, leading AI product development at AgentForce, one of Salesforce's largest and flagship conversational AI products. Rakesh has been building AI products for over 5 years now, and in this episode, he breaks down how and why he pivoted from engineering to AI product management, how Fortune 500 companies are using his products and loving his products, what actually makes a good AI product, and how did he build credibility within researchers, GTM teams, and designers, and finally, why he thinks the PM role will not be replaced by AI anytime soon. So whether you're an engineer trying to transition or just a PM trying to navigate the AI wave, this podcast is for you. So watch this video till the end. Hi Rakesh, welcome to the podcast.
Hey, hi Nilan. Good afternoon and good to be here.
Right. So I'd love to start with how Salesforce like internally shifted its AI strategy post this LLM boom. So like Salesforce is one of the biggest SaaS companies in the world, and suddenly like in the last couple of months, in the last 1 year, I think there have been a huge push towards AgentForce. Like what really changed at the core product philosophy level? What was the insight that maybe came into, let's say, Mark Benioff when he saw LLMs and everything?
Yeah, I think we were in the AI game, and I was working on AI, but it was more around predictive AI and injecting some inbuilt technologies into a lot of the products. The idea was always to automate workflows and make things easier for our customers to use the platform because, as you know, it's SaaS. People just keep adding features over features. So, just to make things simpler, right? When LLMs came, of course, we didn't know about a lot of the capabilities that were going to come later. But what we understood is a lot of the problems we tried to solve for in terms of content generation and automation can be solved using LLMs, right? And because it is just so good at understanding natural language and interpreting it for us, there are so many ways he could use that in sales, in service, in commerce, and across a whole bunch of industries that Salesforce supports. So I think that was when Mark Benioff, our CEO, he had I think an epiphany that hey, this technology is gonna go far. It's kind of like bringing in internet, right? Or the start of AI, that it's gonna go big. And he took the bet and he just went all in, right? Saying we are going to use this technology across the board, across all our products and services, and it's just going to be built into the platform so that everyone can leverage AI.
Awesome. And you're now leading like one of the senior product managers at AgentForce. Like, can you explain what AgentForce is and why is it such a big bet for Salesforce? And I think this will help a lot of the software companies as well. Like, why Salesforce, a big company, is betting so much on AgentForce?
I mean, to get started with AgentForce, as we call it, is a digital labor platform, right? It's a platform. These are autonomous agents that work based on the data you provided and guardrails that you provide. And then it helps you actually do a whole bunch of work that you would have to do yourself otherwise, right? It makes your job a lot easier, and the AgentForce platform actually provides the tools to build those agents, deploy, test, and kind of manage, supervise those agents as well. So that's what the platform provides. I mean, it already has. So, we have a customer, Air India, who's like automating their service workflows, right? On the other hand, we have, fashion brands that want to have these agents deploy talking to their customers in a language that their customers understands. So it's able to kind of understand how a Gucci or a Nike talks and is able to talk that way to their customers, right? So it's all already there, doing a lot of the work, and we didn't we I think digital labor, we are a very good marketing company, and we do come up with a lot of names which interchange, but I think this name has stuck because I think across the board we feel that it's a new form of labor that augments human capabilities, right? And actually kind of helps you scale better and do a whole bunch of things that are mundane, and you could save cost there to do other better things, right?
Yeah, I think very similar. Like, so we at Super AJ also like are working around digital workers and AI agents. So I just want to zoom out a bit and maybe tell our audience who might be a bit unknown with the terms like AI agent, digital workers, digital laborers. So can you maybe tell like what exactly is an AI agent and why are they relevant right now in 2025?
Yeah, I think we started off with a conversational agent as we all understand it, right? Like OpenAI provides you with a ChatGPT interface where you could talk to LLM models, and what the model essentially does is able to interpret your utterance and to able to find relevant information to that, right? So that's grounded in publicly available information. Now, agents are entities that are autonomous, and they have something called agentic reasoning, right? So, like I was mentioning, when LLMs came out, it was just a conversational platform trying to answer and create questions. But now, what we have understood is LLMs are also very good at reasoning, and the GPT 4os, O3s, right? The newer models from Anthropic that are coming in, those are very good at reasoning as well. So what that essentially means that you now actually have an engine that's grounded on your company's data. It is able to understand customers' intent, and then it is able to understand what workflows and what APIs and what if you have built say prompts that it needs to execute to get a particular task done. And these are all based on like the guardrails that you build into the platform itself, right? And the agent then operates on its own, that there is no human in the loop as such. You can of course build guardrails to bring humans in, but these are autonomous agents that you can imagine like a kind of a companion to your service agents. They are busy, they are talking to humans, and then the other way would be that folks are in queue waiting for a long period of time. But then again, you could have a digital assistant or digital worker who's kind of picking up on some of that responsibilities, and in case it's not able to, it is then able to redirect to you, but it is able to solve that first line of problems working independently.
Yeah, it's taking the help of humans whenever it's required, but
Right.
mostly autonomously doing most of the workflows, as you're saying it,
Exactly.
right? Got it. And like there has been so much flux in the AI world recently. Like in the last couple of years, we have seen so much happen in the AI world. Like, how do you personally keep up with AI agents and everything that is happening in the world? And how do you like separate out, let's say, from a product lens, like what seems to be a very cool demo
Mhm.
from things like or building products that people will actually pay for.
Right. Yeah, I think the first part also kind of alludes to a bigger question, that how is AI product management different from normal product management? I think one is just keeping up with the pace of innovation, right? That's a big part of it. Right? There's so much happening every day that it's near impossible to keep track. But I think that is what the job has become in terms of product management, that not only you have to think about your business, how to manage your business, grow your business, but at the same time kind of figure out what's the latest that's coming in and how that impacts your roadmap and your product as a whole. And that happens every day at Salesforce and everywhere else. You see the pace at which products are coming in. And, I mean, previously Salesforce used to have like launches, big product launches like a summer or a winter or a Dreamforce release, right? Those were like 4 months apart. And you used to have a bang of innovations coming your way. But now what has become is, because the technology is evolving so fast and it's doing amazing things, right? So as you see, the pace of innovation has also kind of just jumped up, and Salesforce, including others, are like making announcements every other week or every 2 weeks, and these are like big announcements, right? And these are not like small products or feature launches. These are like huge chunks of code being deployed. So that's, I think, a major change that I have seen.
I think that's pretty interesting where Salesforce being such a huge company is actually launching products like every week. So I would want to know like on a deeper level, what is happening maybe inside Salesforce? Like, let's say how are product managers using AI to do their things like better and faster and like significantly better, I believe, from a day-to-day perspective. How is the engineering team like working with AI? If you can tell me a bit about that.
Yeah, I think it's not just specific to Salesforce. I think every company out there, right, is investing in AI as well. I think what we are, and now AI is embedded in your Office suite, right? You go to PowerPoint, Google Slides, there is AI right there, and across. And I think one thing that Salesforce does really well is we use our products first, right? Because in addition, like Salesforce is a CRM company which does sales and service, right? And Salesforce is a SaaS company that does sales and service. So it uses its own software to do sales and service. And I think because there are so many customers and there is like huge sales cycles, what we could do essentially is kind of leverage that whole network and deploy things on our stack itself, right? So our engineers use AgentForce to write code. The sales team uses AgentForce to do, train for sales, do sales, manage, summarize, send emails, all of that stuff, right? That normal agent can do. They can leverage it, and then it's if you go to help.salesforce.com, you can see an agent there, right? And if you go to www.salesforce.com, as we call it internally, you go there. You type in and you are able to find knowledge articles and answers to your questions, right? So that's like agent for service agents and other kinds of agents deployed right on Salesforce. So it's like we believe in our technology and the power of LLM so much that we are actually have put that to the test, and we are our largest users at this point of time, right?
Wow, that's super fascinating. Like people across the company using Agent Force. And you mentioned code as well. So how is exactly Agent Force helping with code? So it writes code for you, like reading your code base and everything?
I have not myself tried that, but I think we have our own models trained.
Wow.
There are some models. I think I do not exactly know the exact marketing name that's out there, right? So I don't want to make unqualified comments on the model we use, but we have our own models that is trained on our own code base, and it is able to kind of help you kind of generate boilerplate code and as such. And I think that's a efficiency boost more than anything else. You don't want to like generate like actual enterprise code with that, but what it gives you is like a starting piece of kind of work taken off from you, and just that just makes your life a lot easier, right? So that's there. And like I was mentioning, sales, service, our websites, everything run on Salesforce, and it's like we are actually solving for our other customers as well. Because when our customers ask, "Hey, this is my problem, and these are the sort of kind of problems we run into," we can always go back to see, "Hey, did we run into this problem?" And more often than not, we have, right? And we have solved for it. And then we can tell our customers that, "Hey, this is our problem. We have solved for it already," so we can already have that solution kind of ready for them.
Zooming out a bit more, I wanted to understand a bit more about like you've been in product management right after the MBA. Like how has product management changed over the years? Like in the last 5, 6 years, how have you seen it change? Like pre LLM boom, pre LLM boom, post LLM boom. What really happened?
I don't think product management has changed the core of it. It's still like understanding your customers' pain points and trying to find the best solution out there for them, right? The technology, of course, of how you do it, right? That has changed. And what that change has kind of brought in is a little more first mover advantage, right? So people who were close to AI and who kind of took up that passion to kind of learn about AI, pick up what LLM does, kind of do that. So they kind of, so there is this quote, right? A lot of people say that if you there are there are changes that come along, like once in a lifetime changes that comes along. So you can either be a part of it or you can choose to shy away from it, right? So LLMs is when ChatGPT came out, it was something like that. So either you could like be scared of it and hate it and not be a part of what it does, or what you could do is kind of shape tomorrow by being a part of it, right, and learning about it more, so that it's there to stay. We can all see it now. Whether you kind of how fast you accept it, that's kind of where the first mover advantage will lie, right? So I think that's where when initially a lot of people kind of started using it, found it easy and kind of understood the impact it's going to make. So you see, I think there's been a 1 million startups that have come up that's just working on Gen AI, right? So those folks did kind of understand the magnitude of the changes it's going to bring, so they took it up, right? So that's where I think the first mover advantage, if you had kind of known and always kind of been there, that has helped you. The other thing was probably, of course, someone who picked up later and kind of kept following what is happening, right? You started, you're not well at like follow-ups or trying to learn more, and you say, hey, I learn enough, and then you kind of get, I think, a little out of sync with what's going on, and then you are not innovating, and then you're kind of stuck, right? I think the best people would be the folks who started and continued, or started late and are continuing now as well, right? So that definitely gives you kind of that understanding of how it's going to shape, and you can probably either do that by bringing in those changes within your own products and convincing your leadership that, hey, I can do this, or it kind of helps you upskill if you want to make a career change in that domain, right? So I think that's what has changed. Other than that, I think it widened a little bit of a gap between technical and non-technical people, right? I think if you are a technical person, it's rather easier to understand, right? Because I think the associated technologies that has come up, including the likes of RAG and agentic search, ontologies and knowledge graphs. I don't think if you don't have a certain liking for tech, right, and you want to get to the depths of it, you won't kind of understand what's going on, or you won't be able to, right? You can maybe get close to it and build features, but I think it always helps if you are a product manager, if they know, because it's not just that it's another products, it's AI, and customers are always afraid of AI. So you knowing things always makes it easy to explain to a customer that, hey, this is exactly what's happening, this is how your data is saved, this is how we are helping you, right? And because they are always skeptical. So if you know the insights and workings and everything of your products, it's easier to convince a customer that, hey, go try my feature out or product out. So I think that has kind of created a chasm that, hey, I'm a business CPM, I just focus on business. Of course, that works. And there are plenty of business AI PMs who look at like growth and how, kind of are evangelists, right? So they do that. But I think on the building front, a lot of PMs that I work with are pretty highly technical. They just, even if they've not, some folks have made the kind of effort to kind of go deep inside it, shed whatever background they've come up, come from, and kind of embrace that, understanding. So I think that has also kind of been an evolution, that folks now are a bit more technical, especially those who are working on AI.
Got it. Yeah, I completely agree, because like when I was looking into like writing college 22, like then product management was considered a non-technical role, where even if you do not knew technology, maybe just about APIs and how request, post request, pre-request, and all of these requests used to work, you would have qualified to become a product manager, understanding to talk with the developers. But after the LLM boom, I think you will have to know a bit about how these models work, what are RAG, what is agentic search, exactly how you mentioned. And so my next question would be around like, so how do these then non-technical people survive? People who want to switch from, let's say, customer success, sales, or any other role which was previously accessible. And like, how will these people become AI product managers? Because as we see the world, almost every company is becoming like powered by AI, right? So essentially product managers will also, all product managers kind of will become AI product managers. But then how will this non-technical people make this switch?
I think it's also a function of just using a lot of AI, right? So, like I was speaking about, if you embrace the technology, you kind of begin to understand its nuances better, right? So, if you are using AI on a daily basis, trying to see, and of course, there is a lot of content out there, right? So, for example, Microsoft has a whole bunch of training materials. Google has launched a whole bunch, right? Just understanding LLMs. Salesforce just launches Agent Blazer programmer. It's instead of creating trailblazers, is creating agent blazers, right? And they teach you, train you, certify you on AI. And similarly, every one of these large tech companies who have invested heavily, they have all of these kind of guides and upskilling measures to get people on board this train, right? And to kind of guide them along so that you upskill along the way as well. So I think you have a lot of help available to upskill you. So that's where you start first. But you have to have that kind of drive that, hey, I want to focus on this area. I want to talk to a bunch of people. There are lots of AI communities out there. Go speak to them, listen to podcasts like this to understand what people are what people are actually saying. The Perplexity CEO, right? He does a bunch of podcasts, and his podcasts are really nice because he talks a lot about how he did things, how he's competing with the likes of Google and all of that, right? So those are, I think, good to know things that kind of guide you along the way on how to navigate this, and probably just having, I think, the doggedness that PMs generally have of following up. There's just that's also like following your passion and everything. So I think that helps a lot. That you want to have that bond that I want to know about AI. I want to kind of leverage it in my daily life, see how it impacts. That also gives you an idea, right? That how it can impact the work that you want to do. You can kind of put that in your daily life and see where it can make changes. So I think those kind of things that product managers generally have of solving problems, that's at the core front of it. Learning AI kind of helps you complement that, right? And I think that's kind of what you need, that problem solving skill plus some AI knowledge.
Awesome. And how did you personally learn, let's say, AI? I know that you're from a technical background. You have done like 3 years of software engineering, but let's say learning core AI, core ML, is that necessary for someone to become a product manager right now?
I think I joined when this kind of AI, the generative AI hype train wasn't there. I kind of I didn't really work on AI before I joined Salesforce. I was a normal backend Java kind of software engineer guy. But yeah, I think that always kind of interested me, that I wanted to understand what AI was. So I did a whole bunch of certifications, courses. I did hands-on myself. It's of course easier for a software engineer to pick up. So I did that, and once I joined, right, because I knew that I was going to go into a certain team, I kind of prepped for it, and then just understanding, talking to a whole bunch of customers, understanding the business problems that were given to us to solve, and then working with a lot of engineers and data scientists, seeing how they work, what are the considerations, how they're cleaning data, what data are they using, right? And so that's kind of the technical front of it. And then talking to customer gives you that understanding that what data is actually relevant for a business use case to be solving, right? Even AI needs to learn, before this, when it was more predictive AI, you had ML model. How do you train that model? What kind of data do you need? What kind of training do you want? What algorithms to use? And how those work, right? Because that's the thing that customer is going to ask, and you have to always take your engineer with you everywhere. So it's always better to learn, because then you don't have to rely on a lot of people to kind of give the answer to the customers. So that's where I got started, and then when Gen AI came, it was just like it was company wide, like lot many companies. It just suddenly one day, like someone flipped a switch, and everyone just wanted to kind of invest. And once your kind of roadmap changes, so it's you kind of start doing POCs, you kind of start playing around with a little better. You get your free ChatGPT accounts, which you can then play with, see what it's capable of, and that is where I kind of got started. And then of course, when the opportunity came to work on some of these features, and so we kind of then started doing more things, right? What technologies are then coming in additionally to help and boost the efficiencies. And then the more Salesforce built, the more products came across, and the more technologies again, you see on LinkedIn or you read up, right? So all of those together kind of help shape the journey. And then of course I think, because I'm lucky to be in an organization like Salesforce and like so many others, that there are a lot of senior leaders there who are like pioneers of kind of all of these technologies, working with a lot of AI folks across US and outside as well. So they are also kind of visionaries who have these kind of amazing documents that they write or blog posts that they publish, and that kind of also makes you understand where the company is headed, where do you need to upskill to kind of keep aligning to that company's philosophy, right? So our company is now an AI CRM company, right? It's not just a CRM company anymore. So I think that also kind of helps you kind of think deeper that, hey, I need to really understand and get into it rather than being apprehensive about it.
So, want to step deeper into the shoes of, let's say, an aspiring product manager. Let's say someone is doing his engineering or BCom or BBA, like, and he's seeing all of this AI in the world. He wants to become a product manager, and like everybody is recommending him or her that, okay, become an AI product manager. So, what's like a roadmap that you would suggest to these people? Like, how do you become an AI product manager? Right, as a fresher, or would you even suggest them to become a product manager at first, or maybe tell them do development, do sales? What would your opinion be?
No, I don't think I want to kind of dishearten anyone by saying, hey, you shouldn't do it. Of course, you should definitely do it if you think that. I think again, it's also about why you want to be a product manager. Is it just a hype train you want to kind of jump on, or do you actually love solving problems? Because I've seen a whole bunch of PMs who have come in right into this domain since the kind of the COVID boom, right? And they don't like it and they are because they were not really, and then kind of because the hiring went so crazy that everyone started calling every role product management because they just wanted to bring in more people who are like good problem solvers who aren't necessarily product managers but were good problem solvers. Just bring them in as PMs, give them that kind of bump into the domain and just see how it works as well, right? So and people kind of went on board because of course the salaries were kind of lucrative, and then there was a easy way for you, for all non-technical people, to become a part of technology and kind of join the whole ecosystem that we have here in India as well, right? So I don't blame them, right? There's no right or wrong here, but it's also for you to understand that is the job right for you, right? And that only comes from understanding what the job entails. Of course, I think it's always a big balance between what you want to do and how lucrative it is, right? As Indians, we kind of have that. We're not, as a country, we're not like the richest one, right? So people do have their struggles there. So it's always kind of lucrative to kind of take a job that pays well and kind of gets you. But if and that's good as well. I don't discourage anyone to do that. If that's your forte, you like doing that, of course you are welcome to. The other folks who kind of are more finicky about what they want to do, and I know a whole bunch of those people that if the job's bad, some people kind of go through, stick to it, and they then kind of adjust and kind of get well, and they kind of ace those roles. There are a lot of people also I know are very kind of fidgety, and if the role's not right, they just kind of are not happy, and they just kind of struggle through those phases, and it's painful as well there, right? So I think a bunch of people are there for people who can't adjust well and they need absolutely the kind of role they're looking for. For them, I think understanding the role and just the company and what it does, and if that aligns with what you want to do, actually matches, I think then only you kind of go for it. For other folks, it's rather easier that you focus 100%, right? You start understanding what product management is, you start doing your case problems, understanding the frameworks, do all the checks and balances that you need to first become a PM, and then B, of course, while doing that, you have to understand what AI is and how it works. And like I was discussing, there is a whole bunch of resources around that as well. So upskilling, and of course, understanding PMs, right? So there are so many institutes now that help you, or schools and institutes and as such, that help you kind of become PMs with a lot of courses and a lot of help. So those are great resources. If you do not want to spend that money, there's a whole bunch of free resources out there on YouTube as such that kind of helps you kind of do cases better, understand frameworks better, and all of that. So how much of your time you want to spend is actually the kind of roadblock. Understanding what a PM role is, upskilling is as easy as just you spending a whole bunch of time and effort at it, right? It if you are not a technical person, if you don't know how to break into it, and you think it's something you're not good at, start with the basics, right? That what is PM, how do they work, what are the frameworks to use, how do you break down problems, how do you solve problems, and just the circles and all of those star frameworks that kind of is like the bread and butter of every PM, right? Just go follow those, and you are on the right track. And also, it's not that you just have to start off with being an AI PM, right? You can just start off being a PM, and once you're there, I think mobility is taken lightly, but I think that's your kind of biggest tool, right? I've seen enough folks with enough kind of that want to kind of go to a different level, and they start off with just being a PM, then working closely with other AI PMs, kind of just have that kind of doggedness to understand technology and follow up and talk to them and constantly try to kind of move into that domain. I think that also works great. And I think for folks who find it difficult to just go straight away into AIPM, can become a PM first as well. I think that's a great option to kind of switch gears later.
Got it. And in your hiring experience, like what are some of those traits that have like stood out to you in terms of like a great product manager versus a very normal average product manager? What do hiring managers generally look for in PMs?
There are a whole bunch of companies that have this a set number of rounds with a set formula, right? There's case round, there's technical round, then there's of course one HR round and as such, and then there are other companies who have more of understanding what value you bring in, understand your fitment, your way of working, um, and um, and how you have kind of led or built products, what products you build, what your product sense is. So these are the two kinds of hiring that happens again with merits. Um, I think if you were to talk about like from the first one, right, where you set up on a framework, you just kind of test them on the problem solving skills, and I think that's more at like a associate level. I think the levels vary based on the company itself, but in generally, if you consider the normal associate role or even the starting PM role, right? So there you do not have a lot of experience or you have not worked a lot on being a product manager or in the industry itself. So in that case, I think the focus is on analyzing how good you are at basic problem solving, right? Breaking down a problem. It's not that I myself included. I don't know others, but for me, of course, it's not about the strictness of how you follow that framework. It's about how you kind of add your flair to it. I don't want to just someone to do, hey, this is this is circle, this is what I'm gonna do, this is what I'm gonna do, this is what I'm gonna do. I think having that kind of little bit of magic in what you do and believing that you can pull it off, right? I don't want folks to always, and I think I've heard that from other PMs who interview as well, and I don't want them to give like features that everybody knows. I want them to kind of break the ceiling, right? Give what you say. Even if you are I think non-technical people do best there because technical people always overanalyze and think, hey, I know this is not possible, so I'm not gonna say it. And it shows me a bad light. But I think an advantage of like non-technical PMs is that they're sometimes more creative. That they just kind of that have that break that feeling. Gonna do something different attitude that gives them a flair. I think those are some of the things that you check. How innovative they are in their kind of the way they approach the problems, and of course the way they break down the problems. Sometimes those are kind of fun things to see for those kind of scenarios. I think for kind of someone with more experience and kind of more strategically important roles, I think the hiring kind of then boils down to are they a leader? What leadership qualities are they bringing in? What leadership qualities they have shown before? How they work with their engineering teams? How they can, and I think that's what they check across the board. That you have 2, 3 manager rounds, you have culture fitment rounds, you have like engineering round to analyze, right, how they work with engineers, and there can be more than one engineering round as well. I think all of those is just to measure that the company is like making up higher investments when they're hiring someone with a lot of experience. So am I making the right investments? And because they're gonna go drive the roadmap and lead a whole bunch of resources later, right? A lot of engineering resources, a lot of PM resources. So are they the best choice for this role? And what is that factor that they bring in? And I think one thing I've just found out, I don't think anybody talks about it a whole bunch. I think that the reason, especially in India, why we look at experience, if you see in the US, right, they would probably hire people with like no background in product management at all, just fresh out of college, and they will just hire them and give them a whole bunch of growth. Um, so the ecosystems are different because the customers are there. A whole bunch of innovations happens there. The services and infrastructure supports it. So the PMs are supposed to be like the ground breakers and the ceiling breakers, whatever you call them, right? To think about the next 10 years, 15 years of problem. With us, we are of course innovating at a fast pace, and we are a very technical bunch. But I think because we have been traditionally treated as a cost center, right? So at least for the larger companies, that level kind of changes, or the way success is measured for this cost center is kind of different. So our PMs are hired on the basis of the risk mitigation that they can do, right? What unknowns that can happen, and how can you solve for those unknowns? So, and that comes mostly if you have like shipped a whole bunch of features and products. So that's why in India you probably see like a lot more senior people, and then being preferred, and then your job kind of descriptions that come in asking for like 5 years of experience, 10 years of experience for a senior PM, or 15 sometimes, right? I think that's why it differs. So sometimes that becomes a barricade to you getting in, but let's that not dishearten you, because even if you are working in different terminologies or in different industries, um, the experience helps in any kind of job. Whatever experience you can get, that always shapes you for your future. So I think having that, bringing in your expertise from other fields and other walks of life is also very important. And the same at the core of it, you have to, as a product manager, your empathy and your problem solving skills matter, right? So I think that's where you bring in, you just work through it. Probably, I think that's the only advice I have. That I think the things will change, of course, and the hiring will improve, more opportunities will happen. You have a lot going on in the market. So I think staying there, just learning about AI and product management, and kind of just having that thing that no, every day I'm gonna go solve a problem, understand, kind of network, take a lot of help from the community. I think all of those would probably help you kind of break in, and later kind of having that, whatever experience you are building, kind of taking from that and convincing during your hiring that, hey, you bring in that additional flair is going to help you get like roles that are for more experience, or that kind of pays a lot, right?
And this is the question that I ask to almost everyone in my podcast is like, with the advent of AI, there are always two sides to the story. There are people telling that AI will create more jobs, and there are people telling AI will kill more jobs. And let's say specifically in terms of product management, what do you think will really happen, let's say in 2030, where like, do you think AI will kill product management or kill product manager jobs, or it will just create more product manager jobs?
I think again that kind of comes from you know your job role as such. I think product manager is very loosely defined, right? I think you know it more than a lot of people, that there is no boundaries as such of what you want, what you could do, or what your exact responsibilities are. You could do everything and nothing at all. So I think that how the organization defines that role is more important, right? We as humans and technical people or engineers or product managers are adaptable. Our role changes, and we know it as well, that we change a little sometimes along with it. So it always depends on how the company envisions the role. Um, since I think we have a lot of B2C companies, right, where it is all about just shipping out like crazy features. I think there being a feature factory helps to just build faster and kind of be at the forefront of market. But at the same time, you can grow those chops. It's not impossible just to kind of do what generally a framework would do, right? Build great metrics. Always take a look at those metrics, analyze them well. Being a fan of data is always good. Whoever doesn't want to look at data shouldn't be a PM in the first place, because that is your holy grail. That is where everything comes from. If you do not like going through data, probably that's product management might be difficult for you to kind of sustain, right? So I think those things are are kind of your basic sanity factors that kind of helps you kind of prosper, right?
You've interviewed almost like tens and hundreds of product managers, worked with tens and hundreds of product managers. How do you see, like, what are the best traits of a great product manager? Like, what defines a good product manager versus a great product manager? If you could define that, that would be great.
I don't think it will. I mean, you can of course be a product manager and kind of lack a lot of traits. It depends again on the culture and everything. But in general, I can might have like a couple things. One is of course like I think that's my basis of everything that I do is just having that urge to be empathetic and to just to understand problems, right? If you are not empathetic to people's problems, and just think, hey, this is just a job to do, and this is the responsibility that's given to me, and I will just kind of do that and get done with. Probably again, PM is not the best role for you, because as you know, PMs have to kind of be a manager without being a manager, right? That you need to rally a lot of people to ship a great feature that solves problems, right? That's your job. So you have to be empathetic, not just for your customers, but for everyone across those cross-functional teams as well. You have to get them to work, and if you always pick a fight with them and you just or do not communicate well with a lot of kind of authority or whatever, that's gonna backfire. If you are not authoritative at all and you just follow up, that won't work. So you just have to have that right amount of empathy to understand what are those things that you need to do across those teams and different personas and kind of different walks of people that you work with. Have them kind of rally along with the same mentality. I think that's where it's a very thankless job, right? In the first place, you need to have that push that, hey, this is my product, it's my baby. I'm gonna make it better. I'm always gonna kind of work without someone telling me to work on it, to just make it better and to find that next better problem to solve. If you are not a person who takes those initiatives to go and kind of do things, being proactive, I think there is probably the first mismatch that I see. I think because we are a cost center and we do a whole bunch of not groundbreaking stuff, so it's kind of in our, like our mantra that we kind of have like a feature given to us, we execute that feature, we get it shipped, and we are done. So I think moving away from that is probably another thing that we want to do. And again, that takes me back to how the organization defines a role, right? That what are the product managers going to do that's going to help them kind of do more innovation rather than just ship features and be like more like a program manager who manages this is the features that's going to go, and I know this is the timeline that we're going to ship.
All right, so we're at the final round where this is something that I've introduced very recently, is a quickfire round where I basically ask you very quick product questions that you might or might not like, but you'll have to answer. You can answer them in a couple of words or maybe a sentence, but this will be very light. So shall we get started?
Sure.
All right. So one product that you wish you had built.
LinkedIn.
LinkedIn. Why?
I spend all my time there. So.
Got it. Your favorite AI product right now, other than ChatGPT or Claude, and AgentForce?
Yeah, there's this. I forgot the name. I think it's Gamma. There's a PPT maker you use.
Okay, Gamma, nice.
Yeah,
I have used Tome.
okay.
Okay.
No, I just found it by accident. I had to create a deck very quickly.
Right.
And this is not for Salesforce, of course. But yeah, this deck I just wanted to create randomly, and it was just so apt, and
Nice.
yeah, I like that. Yeah.
Nice, awesome. And let's say one founder or product leader that you really admire and follow.
Yeah, I used to um, I think listen to Sundar Sundar Pichai for a while,
Okay.
but I'm actually more of like a blog reader.
Okay.
I listen to a lot of these posts from the Perplexity CEO,
Right.
Arvind.
Got
Yeah.
it. So
Um, so I'm following him currently. Other than that, I think yeah, not many that I read a lot of like random Medium posts.
right.
So probably I think I enjoyed that.
Got it. So what kind of, let's say, blogs or Medium posts? Do you follow newsletters as well?
No, so I just kind of just randomly search about something that I would want to
Got
read.
it.
For example, this last week I just wanted to kind of understand what ontologies are, because that's something I've been just hearing constantly. So I just kind of did a whole bunch of like Medium articles, just understanding what everybody's saying.
Got it. All right. One book every PM should read.
I think managing up and across. It's a HBS book.
Okay.
It's not a PM book.
Okay.
So I remember a very distinct line that I always say from that book is you are also managing your manager, right? So it is also about like how do you manage people, right? Because you are a PM, you need to manage a whole bunch of people without being an actual manager. So I think that's a perfect book of
Right.
knowing how do you manage up and then across as well.
Got it. And like if you could automate 100% of one of your PM tasks, which one would you pick?
Oh, yeah, sending like the weekly updates. I'm like 100% on board that, and I think it's gonna be there
Yeah.
soon. I'm 100% sure I'm gonna probably be able to build one in the next 6 months
Right.
or a year or so,
Right.
where it can just listen to all my Slack conversations and just kind of understand what's going on, and then just say, hey, buddy, this is what has happened. And yeah, just send those updates across Slack to everyone like in my teams who are like, hey, Friday, what's the update?
Awesome. Yeah. And final question, like frameworks, what do you think? Overrated or underrated?
Always overrated. I don't think I have used any frameworks within like the last 1 year or so. It's just frameworks out the way, right?
Right.
It's like this is what you need to get done.
Right, exactly. Awesome. I think Rakesh, this was great. Thank you so much for doing this. Hope you had a great time.
See you. Bye.